I wanted to do a quick video showing you why you need to make your own pizza stone and how I use mine. This is so good. So before we get going on the pizza video, I want to admit that this was not the video I set out to make. Making a pizza stone on its own is kind of a bland topic. So I thought it would be fun to try to make a ceramic cover, almost like a ceramic oven inside of your oven. And I've never used a lid on a pizza stone before, so I thought it'd be fun to make it. And I went through the process. I shot all the videos, throwing this top piece, adding the walls. And it wasn't perfect, but I went ahead and put a glaze on it, thinking that, you know, the spatter of things cooking in it, it would be easier to clean. Even though the pizza stone itself I don't glaze. But here's what happened. It didn't even cross my mind I was going to have to support this in the kiln, and obviously I did. This is a fail. What a bummer. If I did it again, I'd just make another pizza stone, make 2 of these, and I would make a thicker ringed wall, whatever shape, a separate piece. I'd fire them separately. I probably wouldn't even glaze them, and then we could stack them together. But yeah, that's a bummer. So I've been thinking about how I'm going to do this video. Am I really going to show rolling out my slab and cutting a circle and putting it in the kiln and taking it out of the kiln? There's just nothing to it. It doesn't really matter if it's perfectly flat or if it has a little bit of an arch. Doesn't matter if the finish, this one has a bit of the canvas texture still in it from rolling it in the slab roller. You could absolutely roll this out with a rolling pin. The only thing to look at is do a little math, figure out your shrink rate, and make sure that you don't make it too big or too small so it won't fit in your oven or whatnot. But the second opinion is, to some extent, the thicker is better. I've made them thick, I've made them thin, I've broken both. In both cases they broke because I left them under a broiler. I actually forgot that they were in there, turned the broiler on, walked away, and I came back and they were cracked in half. But normal use, baking, whatever, they seem to be really durable, and they're cheap to make. They're a little bit bulky in the kiln, they're not easy to ship. I don't know if it'd be something that, you know, you would ever make to sell on your website or something. I can't imagine I would. But for yourself, there's just no reason to not make yourself a couple. So this channel is definitely not a cooking channel, but I want to show you the recipe I use to make pizza on a regular basis. And I'll make 2, and I'll show you the difference in how they come out between the pizza stone and a normal metal baking sheet. So 1 cup of warm water and 1 package of yeast. And let that sit. So I usually let this sit for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Should be good. One cup of cold water. And in that I'm going to dissolve 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I will stir those until the sugar and salt are dissolved. Okay, so all I have to do now is add 5 1/4 cups of flour, as well as the yeast, and the 1 cup of warm water, and put that on the mixer. And I'm going to run it on low and only on low. I'm going to let this run for about 4 minutes, and then we'll come back to it and deal with the next step. Okay, so it's been 4 minutes. We're going to want to let it rest for 2, and then come back and mix it for, I'd say, 5-6 minutes more. But the rest is important, so let it chill out for a couple minutes and come back to it. Okay, it's rested for 2 minutes. I'm going to put it back on low, and we're going to run it for 5-6 minutes more until it looks nice and smooth. Here we go. Alright, that's been 6 minutes and looks really, really good. So let's get that out. I don't even spend much time kneading it. It needs to go into a bag and sit overnight in the fridge. Okay, so let's make the sauce. I start with about a cup of tomato sauce from last year's garden. I don't know how much this is, maybe a half a cup, 3/4 of a cup of chopped parsley, fresh if you have it. Some thyme, again if you have it. I have it growing, so nice to use it, and that'll all cook down. It may look like a lot, but. And then I have some salt, some pepper, and some garlic salt, or garlic powder rather. A little bit of olive oil, and we'll put some fire to it and cook that down. So I want this just to keep cooking down. I come around every once in a while and scrape the edges so I don't get burnt parts, but it's cooking down nicely. Oven is up to temp, and we want to get this pizza in the oven. Alright, let me get the toppings out and we'll get this thing loaded up and in the oven. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We have our sauce, nicely cooked down, really powerful in taste, because we don't want a whole bunch. That's all it takes. Just a little bit. Some mozzarella cheese, some pepperoni, and I tend to like my pizzas with not a lot of toppings. I mean, some for sure, but not a lot. And if you really want to eat a whole bunch of pizza, then make more than one. Some red onions and some Parmesan cheese. Okay, let's get this in the oven. The key is to make sure that it's still, you can kind of get it shaking and moving, and it's doing that, so let's stick it in the oven. There you go. Yeah, it smells ridiculous. I think it looks good. I'm going to give it 1 more minute and then I'm going to pull it. Oh, it looks so good. Put it here and let it cool. This is so good. You can see how nice and crispy it is. And we'll check it in 5 minutes. Okay, 5-minute check. Ooh, looking pretty good. We'll give it 1 more minute. Okay, it's been another minute. So here's the question. It's been 6 minutes. Doesn't seem as crispy as the other, but the top sure looks good. Everything's bubbling, golden brown. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it. Okay, so which one's better? We have the on the ceramic pizza stone. You can see how much crispier it is. And then this one, more blonde. It's definitely softer. I'm going to let this cool down for about a minute, and then we'll cut into them and take a look. Okay, it's been a minute or two, so let's cut these. On the pizza stone, no pizza stone. I actually did not expect it to be as doughy as it was, but you can see it's kind of rubbery. Much thinner, stiffer, crispier. Definitely a different color. Overall it's darker on the pizza stone. I don't know, I think this is a better pie. Tell me what you think, leave a comment below.